Good afternoon, and welcome to the Thursday, June 12th meeting of the Energy and Environmental Conservation Committee. I'm Cynette, Cavaliere, the chair, and I would like to have our committee introduce themselves, starting with Katie.
Katie Rygg, committee member.
Cheremeteff, committee member.
Stephen Daly, committee member.
Roy Green, committee member.
Matt Prinzing, junior planner with the town, and then we also have a guest speaker that I'll introduce once she's ready to present. And then John Bennett should be walking in any moment here too.
Okay, thank you. Okay, our first order of business is a review and approval of the minutes of the May 8th meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes from May.
Second?
I second that.
Okay, thank you. Is there any comments, corrections for those minutes? No? Okay, hearing none.
Rygg for the vote to approve.
Oh. Aye.
Cheremeteff,
Aye.
Daly,
Aye.
Cavaliere,
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
So the next item on our agenda is a guest presentation with Madison Quinn. Madison is the sustainability coordinator for Monroe County, working with the Department of Environmental Services. And tonight she's going to be presenting on Monroe County's climate action plan. And then for the context for the town residents watching, the town does have a budget and also grant monies that are set aside for a town climate action plan, which is one of the main reasons why we wanted to hear from the county's perspective on how their climate action plan is going. So, Madison, if you want to take the reins.
Sure, thank you. And thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all. I'm going to give an overview of our climate action plan and talk about some of the things in the works, but it's also an invitation for future collaboration, so I'm always happy to have further conversations on anything included in this. I always, okay, I think my slides jumped there a little bit, but so kind of starting off, our climate action plan for Monroe County really looked at community-wide climate action mitigation and also alignment with the state programs like the New York State Climate Smart Communities program, which I know you guys have heard about before, and really looking at advancing these policy goals. And we broke it into two phases. So phase one was our county government operations climate action plan, and that was completed from 2020 to 2022. And then in 2023 to 2024, we really focused on community-wide climate action. So the first phase is what's the county going to do to reduce our own greenhouse gas emissions and setting goals and a roadmap for that emissions reduction. And then phase two is very much an invitation for collaboration and is intended to serve as sort of a guide and a resource, as well as an opportunity for partnerships within the community. The actions in phase two are recommendations and meant to be supportive of community-wide efforts. They're not regulatory or mandated or anything like that. Whereas phase one is things that the county government will be working to implement over the course of the program. Phase two will really depend on partnership with other stakeholders in the community like yourselves. So kind of the role of the CAP, as I said, is to provide both a refined look at our greenhouse gas emissions and also kind of complementing existing efforts. So we appreciate that there's a lot of different activity going on in climate action at different levels within the county and the region. So we started off by looking at what else is there in terms of other municipalities doing climate action plans, as well as sort of regional strategies for climate action. And again, we want to complement those. It doesn't take the place of anything. It really ties into those plans and initiatives and looks kind of specifically at Monroe County. And we also see this as an opportunity to have a strategic approach to climate action implementation. Sometimes people get frustrated with the number of plans that happen in government, but those plans really set the stage for us to be strategic in our implementation, as well as expanding opportunities for grant funding. And oftentimes there's opportunities for collaboration and pursuing different funding opportunities. But as I said, the role of the community-wide climate action plan is really an invitation to collaborate. So community buy-in is really essential to implement phase 2. We're looking to partner with other municipalities, businesses, community organizations, and residents in implementing some of these recommended actions in the phase 2 climate action plan. It's also just one part of the portfolio, as I mentioned. There are a variety of plans that the county has, and again, it's meant to complement these other existing plans. So we see it as sort of a Venn diagram here on the slides with other completed plans, plans that are underway, and upcoming plans. So you will see, if you read through all the actions in the climate action plan, we will reference these other plans like the county-wide active transportation plan. So we didn't need to reinvent the wheel when we can refer to existing plans. But again, certainly many of these plans inform our climate action strategies and are, in some cases, part of our climate action strategies. I know you heard a couple months ago from our Deputy Director, Rich Perrin, about our organic waste management plan, which is currently underway. That is, again, a complementary plan in the climate action toolbox as well. So it's definitely a collaboration happening there. But we really, all of these different plans tie together towards, improving community well-being and supporting our community partners in these efforts as well. We're also looking to complement the existing state programs. As I know you're aware, the Clean Energy Communities Program, the Climate Smart Communities Program are, state-led initiatives that municipalities, including the county and, a variety of towns and villages are already taking advantage of. So, it's definitely, I'm happy to discuss further how the county has, been able to benefit from these programs. But I know you heard from Rachel Scudder and Rob Richardson last year, I think it was your January meeting, about some of the nitty-gritty details of those programs. But again, when we get to the Q&A of it all, I'm happy to dig down further if you'd like. Again, there's also multiple benefits of climate action. So I think a lot of times, when we're developing climate action plans, we're talking about the greenhouse gas reductions and the math of it all, the science of it all. But it's really about, sort of the triple bottom line of benefits to our community. So in addition to the greenhouse gas reduction, we were really looking at opportunities for cost savings, the economic benefits, including energy and water efficiency. You can, save money on utilities, as well as reducing carbon impacts, reducing carbon emissions, as well as economic development opportunities. We were really looking at the clean energy sector as a source for job creation and business opportunities, and that can be everything from design, manufacture, installation, also like community outreach and educating folks about opportunities in clean energy, and the public health benefits, which resonates with a lot of people as well. Lowering greenhouse gas emissions, you're also lowering other air pollutants and, can have improved both indoor and outdoor air quality. And active transportation can also, improve health, it's more facilitating exercise, and again, having all those other public health benefits in addition to our greenhouse gas reductions. So I think that's always important context when we're having these conversations for some people that may not think about greenhouse gases every day. So first we did the math and the science of, how much are we emitting right now as Monroe County government, operating our buildings and facilities, our lighting, our pure waters infrastructure, which is our wastewater utility, solid waste and sustainable materials management and transportation. And we set the goal of an 80% reduction by 2050. So that's from our 2019 baseline year, so you have to have a starting point. And the state uses 1990 levels, but we didn't think it was a worthwhile exercise to go that far back in time to find out how much greenhouse gases we were emitting in 1990. And there's certainly been improvements in a lot of technology and efficiencies from between 1990 and 2019 that I think will comfortably fit within the 85% reduction goal that the state has set. And that's, again, an important part of this is we're not working in a vacuum. We're trying to be proactive and get out ahead of any sort of regulatory requirements that may come down from the state government as well. So we did the same for the community-wide greenhouse gas emissions inventory. And again, I'm happy to go into further detail in future discussions if folks want to see some of our data, and we have a whole appendix to our climate action plan with a lot of the nitty-gritty details. But the big takeaways of the community-wide emissions for all of Monroe County, so all of the things that are not Monroe County government operations, is that transportation, which is 41%, and energy use is 39%. Those are really huge chunks of our greenhouse gas emissions. So certainly, these sort of things help us sort of prioritize where can we get a really good bang for our buck in terms of some of these actions. And both of those sectors are really a huge chunk of our greenhouse gas emissions collectively. So again, we have actions for all of these sectors, but you may notice if you look side by side at our phase 1 and our phase 2 climate action plan documents, we've really prioritized what order we're going to do our phase 1 actions in, because those are our county sort of in-house actions to be taken. But our phase 2 actions are very much relying on community participation and collaboration, as I mentioned. So those will be prioritized according to the interest of the community and community partners. So again, one of our goals with this climate action plan is thinking ahead to positioning Monroe County ahead of any sort of requirements that may come down from the New York CLCPA, the Climate Act. So as I mentioned, we're going from 2019 baseline. They're going from 1990 levels, but we're both working towards these reductions by 2050. And we really want to have a strategic approach to things like electric vehicle infrastructure, supporting the EV transition. The state is really looking at a target of 100% new vehicle sales being zero emission vehicles by 2035 for light-duty vehicles and 2045 for medium and heavy-duty vehicles, which is a far cry from where things are right now. So we really want to be strategic in this, kind of looking at fleet electrification where it makes sense, and then other alternative fuels, non-fossil fuel options for things that are perhaps the technology may not be there for certain like heavy equipment, but there may be other alternatives. So looking at kind of various alternatives that leads us towards zero emission vehicles, and we're actually in the process of developing a EV or clean fleet master plan, which we're really looking forward to having, again, sort of a strategic roadmap of how we look at our fleet. And hopefully that will also be a helpful reference or model for folks looking to electrify municipal fleets, but also providing that public infrastructure for charging stations for people's personal vehicles. So again, that's just an example of some of the things that we're trying to advance ahead of any sort of requirements, especially, if everybody's working towards a deadline from the state and we're all trying to buy the same pool of electric vehicles, that could be a more expensive way to be electrifying our fleet than a sort of systematic rollout of, a planned transition. So Again, as I mentioned, we have sort of a framework for each, the Phase 1 government operations and the Phase 2 community-wide. So this is how we broke out our climate action plan: buildings and facilities, pure waters infrastructure, solid waste and materials management, transportation fleets, and expressway lighting and signals. Buildings and facilities is far and away the biggest section of our county government's greenhouse gas inventory footprint. But we also have pure waters infrastructure, which uses a substantial amount of energy, and that's about 20%. Smaller percentages for the other categories, but again, there are some like quick wins you can often get. And I know you've all been working on some of those things like LED lighting and buying EVs that can be, again, an incremental progress towards these different goals. So in the community-wide focus areas, you'll see there's some alignment there because, again, it's a lot of the same types of things. We have transportation, buildings and housing, land and water resources, waste and recycling, energy use and consumption, and partnerships, education, and economy is kind of the new addition to this portfolio because, as I mentioned, and I may sound like a broken record, but it's all about collaboration. We are really looking at this opportunity to build partnerships and support other community partners within Monroe County with this Phase 2 climate action plan. So we did want to specifically call out some of those opportunities that are not specifically tied to a greenhouse gas emission, but really are looking more collectively at the partnership opportunities and integrating some of these climate actions into our education and our economy. So I'm not going to go through every action in all of our climate action plan because I think there's about 115 of them, but I did want to kind of touch on each of the action areas and some of the things already happening. And I did grab some photos from your website to reference some of the things that I know you're already working on here in the town of Penfield. So again, increasing active transportation and connectivity, especially around population centers where we have density of population, making things more walkable and bikeable is definitely an opportunity, and which also reduces vehicle miles traveled. And again, also when we do need vehicles to get from place to place, looking at some zero emission vehicles, equipment, facilities. And I like your EV there, so I grabbed a picture from your website. Buildings and housing, again, municipalities can really look at this in a variety of ways, and I know it fits into a broader planning context for each community, but there's opportunities with existing development, redevelopment, or new development, kind of how can we think differently, how we, evaluate different opportunities in buildings and housing, and also, again, reducing energy use in those buildings and exploring renewable energy sources. So I saw that the town has a local law on renewable energy systems regulations. I think that's, kind of next level compared to a lot of what I've seen even looking around the country. So very excited to see some of the things you're all working on. And again, I'd be happy to learn from you as well on some of the things that you guys are advancing here in the town of Penfield. And again, it's a really, huge kind of paradigm shift when we're talking both about the energy sector and also, fleets and vehicle purchases and that kind of thing. So kind of looking systematically is really exciting, and I'm definitely interested in sharing information as we both move forward in different sustainability journeys here. Sustainable materials management, again, this is an opportunity for a lot of different, collaborative endeavors, and some of it is, about reducing waste or diverting that waste from landfills, finding opportunities for, not just recycling, but, reuse and recovery of some of these things that have historically become waste products. And I know we've already been partnering on certain things like household hazardous waste, mobile collections, and that kind of thing. So again, we're looking to further expand our different resources in the community for reducing, reusing, recycling, And again, diverting some of this waste away from landfills and towards other beneficial use. Energy use and consumption, again, a lot of it is kind of changing how we look at our energy consumption in terms of both, efficiency and renewable energy sources. So we're looking to support both municipalities and individuals, and as we all look towards opportunities for transitioning to renewable energy. And again, I was going through your website and seeing some exciting stuff on the solar side of things. So again, I'm borrowing a lot of your photos. Land and water resources is another one that, sometimes people don't right away connect to, greenhouse gas emissions or climate action, but kind of both protecting and conserving existing green spaces and also looking at land use planning. Again, the county doesn't have any authorities in land use planning, and we certainly, are not trying to overstep anything, but, we're inviting conversations for municipalities that are interested in different opportunities with land use planning. And if we can provide any sort of informational support or convening folks that are working on similar things, and even things like tree planting policies. And again, I wanted to congratulate the town on your Tree City USA designation. I think, again, some of these different programs are, reflective of priorities in different municipalities. And I love tree planting. It's one of my favorite things, so just on a personal level. But, it's exciting to see, I think, different folks have different opinions about trees and where they should be priorities for planting and things. But there's a lot of different environmental benefits from these tree planting processes. And again, I'm looking, as a partner from the county to look at kind of how different municipalities are addressing tree planting and kind of different approaches. So also smart mowing, or some of them are no-mow or low-mow lawns, native plantings, that kind of thing can really make an impact and, reduce our greenhouse gas emissions both from lawn equipment, but also, all those other ecosystem services that, a lawn can provide in terms of supporting pollinators and that kind of thing. So, and then, partnerships, education, and economy. As I mentioned, this is really, we're looking to foster these connections between public and private organizations or county and local government, regional initiatives, residential opportunities for engagement, and again, also supporting kind of community campaigns and things. I know there's clean energy community points for community campaigns, and I did check out a couple of the campaigns on your website in partnership with Color Penfield Green. So very cool to see some of this community education happening and engaging folks that are interested in learning more. And it's really, again, it can be sort of daunting if you don't, you're not sure what it means by clean heating and cooling, or if you, aren't really sure about electric cars, being able to have some approachable educational materials that helps people feel more informed on these types of decisions, and make more informed decisions. Again, I want to come back to the triple bottom line benefits. I think it's really important for, I think there's so many different benefits in addition to greenhouse gas reductions, and different folks across our community have various priorities that can all be supported by climate action in many cases. So the economic benefits, with workforce development and job creation, as I mentioned earlier, and the opportunity to leverage grant funding. I know the space for sustainability grants is a little tighter now than it historically was in the last few years, but being able to leverage those resources and bring more of those resources to Monroe County and our municipalities is definitely an advantage to some of this climate action planning, and again, the possibility of collaboration on some of these things, as well as community engagement. And again, there's social benefits as well, as I mentioned, with active transportation, many benefits from clean heating and cooling, which have both again, environmental and social benefits in terms of improving public health. And again, the other benefits, if you're not thinking about greenhouse gases, air quality and water quality are pretty important to most of us. So being able to achieve kind of multiple benefits through climate action is, again, one of the goals of meeting that triple bottom line. And implementation, so as I mentioned, our Phase 1 county government operations climate action plan was passed in 2022, and we've been working to integrate the actions in the Phase 1 CAP into our processes of government, so things like capital improvements and the budget process, term contracts and other mechanisms of doing business, as well as, Phase 2 climate actions that, again, are all going to hinge on opportunities for collaboration. So Monroe County, is looking to support other community partners that are interested in advancing any of these actions within our climate action plan. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and we recognize that, so we really want to have sort of a menu of opportunities in each of these focus areas for potential collaboration. And, that goes for municipalities, businesses, community organizations, schools, residents. We're really inviting the whole community to participate at whatever level you'd like to. And you'll see, if you look in the Climate Action Plan Phase 2, the check boxes that are here on the slide here, because we wanted a way to be concise but identify where there's opportunity for multiple partners to be collaborating. There are certain things that are inherently municipal jurisdiction, like land use planning that I mentioned. There's things that are inherently decided by the business community or by community organizations in the private sector. And then there's also things that, individual actions that people can take. And we wanted to be able to account for all of those different opportunities across each of the actions. And again, looking ahead, we are going to be updating our greenhouse gas inventory every 5 years so that we can be keeping track of our progress towards 2050. We're also, I've been focused very much on mitigation with the Climate Action Plan, but we're now looking, while we implement the Climate Action Plan, to also be planning for adaptation and resiliency. So acknowledging that we're already experiencing effects of climate change, we also want to be as prepared as we can for adapting to those changing conditions with extreme weather, that can be wet weather or extreme heat, and again, making our infrastructure and our systems more resilient. So that plan will be underway this year and next, and we'll have a lot of different engagement opportunities for all of our community partners, so look out for more on that. And we're also working to revamp our Climate Action Plan website, monroecountyclimateaction.com. It's been sort of focused on the plan while we were developing the plan. We want to sort of retool it as a resource for a whole variety of resources with informational materials, funding opportunities, and again, invitations for collaboration as we move forward in implementing the Climate Action Plan. So look out for a new sort of look and feel for our website too. We're hoping it can be a good reference or guide for other folks working on their climate action planning as well. And with that, I'll open up to any questions.
So I have a question. Your targets, are they aligned with science-based targets, or?
Yes. So we really, again, a lot of the material we looked at was from New York State, but really looking at greenhouse gas reductions to reduce the impact we're having on climate change. And that 80% by 2050 is informed by the science. I can provide more documentation of that if it's helpful, but.
Yeah, probably the 2 degrees C or the 1.5 degrees C.
Off the top of my head, I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay. Did you include your Scope 3, all categories of emissions that you found?
So yes, so the Phase 1 inventory is Scope 1 and 2, and then Phase 3, or Scope 3 is included in Phase 2, kind of the community-wide, things that are not Monroe County
Sure.
operations of government, but happen within Monroe County.
So like even things you purchase from vendors and suppliers and stuff like that as well?
Yes, that goes into the math. We used the ClearPath tool from ICLEI as our platform, and our protocols followed their protocols. So I know there's a few different ones out there, but we also compared our numbers and things with the regional climate strategy from the Climate Solutions Accelerator, and our data folks got together and hashed it out and checked, that things kind of align, even though it's two different protocols. I
Sure.
think.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Any other questions?
Building off of Roy, because the slide that was kind of showing like the expressway lighting, I was just very curious about that because it showed like 100% reduction in CO2 emissions. Like what exact emissions are those necessarily contributing? And really, is it more like an upstream target, or is it like a vendor-based type deal, or?
So our main strategy there is converting from incandescent to LED, and we are most of the way there with our traffic signals, both expressway and non-expressway. 100% maybe not an exact number, but I think the estimation of converting to LEDs is perhaps close to 90% reduction just by converting to LEDs. So we are looking and working with our Department of Transportation to look at kind of strategies to make more impact in our transportation infrastructure as well. So that will be kind of fine-tuned over time, but we saw a lot of opportunity approaching 100% in terms of, converting technology and reducing the energy use, substantially by making those technological conversions.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's lighting as well as traffic signaling?
Yes, we're
Okay.
working on both
Okay.
street lighting and traffic signals and.
Considering dark skies and all of those current
Yeah, we're,
standards.
again, we're a lot of our actions have also been informed by things in the climate smart communities and clean energy communities guidelines. So we have been able to achieve some of these kind of early wins with our lighting improvements and street lighting, as well as in adding, switching to LEDs in a lot of our facilities as well.
Okay, I actually had a question on the climate adaptation and resiliency plan.
Sure.
So what kind of actions would be included in a plan like that?
So I don't have specifics because we're just getting started, but conceptually, whereas the Climate Action Plan was looking at, reducing our greenhouse gas emissions and, energy savings and that sort of angle, we were really, in the Adaptation and Resilience Plan, looking at first our climate vulnerability assessment. I should say we have two climate smart communities grants awarded for this project, a climate vulnerability assessment and a climate adaptation plan. And we're combining them together into one planning process. So the vulnerability assessment will really look at where do we need to invest and improve our infrastructure, programs, systems, preparing for the changing climate. So we're building off of the hazard mitigation plan that's already been prepared by our Office of Emergency Management, and I believe that was updated in 2022, and kind of looking at how we can be proactive in some of these climate impacts that we're already starting to see. So things like wet weather, we've seen a little bit of that this year, increasing intensity and frequency of wet weather. We're projected to have more extreme heat events over the coming decades. So having preparations in place for extreme heat, and especially our most vulnerable populations. And we're engaging various departments across Monroe County, so not just Department of Environmental Services, but again, really looking countywide at all of our systems and services, including, gaining expertise from our other Health and Human Services divisions, as well as our physical infrastructure, to really look countywide at how we best prepare for changing climate and prevent the worst impacts that can affect our most vulnerable populations. So the details will be coming as we get further into the planning. We've sort of just kicked off. We're going to have an extensive community engagement campaign to really make sure we are addressing concerns within the community and impacts that folks may already be feeling or maybe anticipating, and again, basing it on the sound science that is supporting all of our sustainability work, but also on the needs of our community and vulnerabilities that we could shore up and make more resilient systems and infrastructure to, again, prepare for the impacts of climate change that are already happening or are forthcoming. I hope that answers.
Very well, thank you.
Is that also a two-phase plan, where you'll be looking internally and then looking for the partnerships outside?
So we're kind of wrapping it all together so far for the Climate Adaptation and Resilience Plan. So we will be looking at Monroe County government and how we can, make our infrastructure, our programs, all of our systems more resilient. But again, we want to support an entire Monroe County resiliency. So the concepts of the two phases will be wrapped into one plan. Thank you.
So Matt provided us with the RFP to the, for trying to hire a consulting firm to help develop the Phase 1 and Phase 2 climate action plan for Monroe County. And I thought it was really interesting that for the Phase 2, there was a specific bullet point for community engagement. Like, this was a really important part of Phase 2. That totally makes sense. It's
Yes.
a really big part of Phase 2. But Phase 1, that was not on the list. And I was wondering, as we're looking at doing a kind of a Phase 1 climate action plan, is that, and should we also be, I'm always for community engagement, basically. Should we be looking, what's the reason behind that?
So as you referenced, Phase 2 really did have that emphasis because everything in it relies on partnership and collaboration. So having Phase 2 without community buy-in would not be workable at all. Not that we don't want community buy-in on Phase 1, but a lot of the sort of nuts and bolts of it were, county government operations, and input was still, welcome and was presented to, this was, again, before I was on board here, but my understanding is that, people had the opportunity to weigh in at both the Climate Action Plan Advisory Committee meetings, which were open meetings, as well as, hearings before the legislature. But we definitely did a much more intense community outreach campaign with Phase 2, and I think, we learned a lot, and our Climate Adaptation and Resilience Plan outreach is going to be very informed by, what strategies worked and lessons learned in Phase 2 outreach and strategies to reach more of the population, get more input, and again, kind of have it be informed by community priorities. So it was also some of the kind of ramp up of Phase 1 was during COVID. It was a really challenging landscape. So again, not to make any excuse for that, but we're learning and growing as we go along, and also building our capacity for more robust community outreach in our office as well, and again, leveraging partnerships with, as I mentioned, other community partners and other departments within the county and other, municipal governments as well. So I think, again, much like with Phase 2, there's an invitation for collaboration that will be a part of the entire climate adaptation and resiliency plan. But we're always trying to learn and do better in each stage of implementation of our sustainability program.
Just to jump off of that point, and I think this relates a bit to what Katie had asked, which is, what strategies, what best practices would you recommend to a town like Penfield that is considering embarking on this process itself?
One tip I would say, just based on my experience so far, is if you can incorporate in your outreach existing plans or programs and events that people are already gathering at. It's much easier to get people's attention when you go where people are gathering. And I know the town has some great programs already. I was very happy to participate in the Arbor Day /EV event in April, and it was wonderful the way that you paired the free tree giveaway with the different tables and setup in that event. Everybody came through and stopped and talked to me at my table as well as other folks about kind of what we're up to and what we were tabling for. But if you can work it into other things that are attracting people, it's you get a greater variety of opinions than if you just wait for folks to come to a standalone meeting. So I think we did have standalone meetings, public workshops, which were successful and well attended. But I think we also had some really interesting conversations at other community events, and where we set up a table and just had conversations and documented those conversations and then incorporated them into the plan. So I think going to where people are is really helpful in getting more opinions and more input.
Any other questions for Madison? I appreciate you coming and giving us an overview, especially since we're really early in the consideration of this. And thank you also for showcasing some of our success stories, because we are pretty proud of the things that we have done.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And again, I'm always happy to continue the conversation as you move forward with your own planning. And again, very impressed with a lot of the work that you're already doing. And if I can be a resource at any point, I'm happy to do so. And again, happy to collaborate in any future activities and endeavors where we can, advance climate action together. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you.
And you're welcome
so
to
much.
stay as we continue our business, but I also think I heard that you have another commitment.
Yes, I unfortunately do have to run to my next community meeting. So thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Okay.
So moving into our next agenda item, we have our standing report from the Monroe County Environmental Management Council.
Okay, and you guys received the notes, which will be appended to the minutes, I believe.
Yes.
And if you noticed the notes, it was for a meeting that I was actually unable to attend. And the topic was on soil health. It was kind of an interesting topic, it sounded. So I did take the notes that were taken by Liz Kaptein, who manages the notes and minutes for that committee. So she did a great job in capturing that, so it was a good topic for all of us to review about soil and the intersection with that with agriculture and other uses. So that was it. We have finished our year in terms of the committee. The council, the Environmental Management Council, we did have a potluck year-end celebration where we recognized our student members, as well as just kind of making sure that we had plans set for next year. And so then September will be our next meeting. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Okay, our next agenda item going forward then is the review of our required items, so town development projects.
Yeah, so we've been following this one project, the Tier 3 solar energy system that's proposed on Northrop. The planning board will be reviewing it tonight. The applicant did receive a positive JD letter. So going back to, that's the parcel jurisdictional determination process. And I mean, frankly, the applicant and the town anticipated this. I mean, the previous mapping, as the state now calls it, showed the wetlands on the parcel. The applicant had a wetland delineation done last year. And so the project that they're proposing is based off of that delineation. This is kind of showing the process that they've gone through so far. They submitted the JD, and this is the key for this graphic. This is from New York State DEC, but any of these blue circles are actions by the regional DEC office. The brown is applicant, and then the green is the central office, or CO. And so at first they're working with the CO for that central office to figure out whether or not they have jurisdictional wetlands on the parcel. There's another, so I should clarify that there's two applications before the planning board this evening for Tier 3 solar energy systems. There's one in Northrop Road, that's the one that we're discussing here, that got the positive parcel JD. There's also one on Harris Road. They also submitted for a JD letter for that, and they got a negative JD, meaning that there's no, none of those classified wetlands on the property. And so where we're at right now in the JD process is here, where the regional DEC office is verifying the delineation that they had conducted last year. Now, the applicant, had their consultant perform the delineation, and they've, effectively designed it, based it off of that delineation that they had done. Essentially, if the regional office decides that the delineation needs to be done again, then they'll potentially have to redo their designs based off of the new delineation. And so we're not really sure until we have that verification where that will lie. And then once they have that final layout of the project, then they consult with the regional DEC office again to determine whether or not the project overlaps with those jurisdictional wetlands. If yes, then they coordinate with the regional DEC staff to try and avoid or mitigate any impacts to the wetlands. If there's no overlap, then they can request a non-jurisdictional letter. But ultimately, I think for the context of EECC and how our EPODs work, it's almost as if kind of like the DEC is determining, is this action impacting a wetland? Yes, then in that case, it's going to the DEC for review, but it also goes to our committee for review. If no, effectively, if it's not impacting the EPOD, then it doesn't go before this committee. And the DEC has made the stance that their project doesn't overlap, and it's not, to clarify, it's not overlapping with the wetland or the regulated adjacent area. So that's the standards for this process. So that's where those two projects are. And again, we're still at this step. We're not quite at that determination from DEC. So if that happens, then it may be before. That's why Cynette and I had discussed, if this were to come before us, we just wanted to clarify who would be the next ones up for to be on the review. of the project, and we had pointed out that like Cynette still hasn't done a project review. John, you haven't been on a project yet, and then we were thinking maybe either Stephen or Ari, if you would want to be kind of the experienced members with your previous ones. I mean,
Can I be?
obviously-
This is my firm that did the.
Okay.
Is that a conflict, or is
so
It might be.
Okay.
Okay. So again,
this
we'll
one
get to
out.
that, but just a heads up that if it comes, then, and it may be that another project comes in and you three are the ones that get chosen for that, but just a heads up that that's what
Yep.
we were thinking for the next town development project that comes in.
So just to be clear, the DEC has this right now under review?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they've had, I mean, again, the JD process, I believe that they submitted that back in January. So
Oh,
it's been with them
They're
for
backed
quite a
up.
long time. But yeah, so the delineation is where we're at, and trying to determine whether or not they're going to verify that.
But it's at the regional level and not at central office anymore.
Exactly.
Yes, so it's already gone through the initial 3-month period, and now
Right.
is at the,
Yeah.
Can I ask a question that's probably a sharp left turn, but relates to the solar energy code? So there was a case in the 3rd Department in New York State that basically said, some people say it says more than I think it does, but that indicated that solar projects are, solar generation, solar fields are public utilities, and therefore can ultimately, as long as they demonstrate public necessity, can avoid certain zoning requirements. And I was curious if the town has been in communication with, I guess, considering whether that warrants reconsidering the current zoning code as far as solar projects go, given this recent ruling.
I would have to know more about the ruling. I'd be curious to know, because, I mean, there's just so many different scales of solar. Are they saying that a solar panel on someone's roof is a,
No, it's
Yeah,
more like
so-
community solar projects, so less than 25 megawatts. More than that, greater than that would be ORES jurisdiction. It's a whole different thing. But community solar, that's from 1 megawatt to 25 megawatts. So tier 3, essentially.
okay. Yeah, I mean, we can have those conversations and see the applicability to our code and how that may impact projects and things like that. But no, it's not something that the town is actively discussing, at least as far as I know. It could be something that, town staff and the town attorney are talking through. But as far as I know, that hasn't specifically been addressed.
okay. So at this point in time, we're still pending. We've not been asked to do anything
Exactly,
specifically for
right.
this.
Just,
Okay, just the update, okay.
yeah.
Any other town development projects?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Requests from town board, there's none at this time. Then moving into clean energy community actions and community campaigns. Still no news from NYSERDA on the CEC program reopening. We are continuing to accept clean energy campaign submission forms on the town's website for the purchases of heat pumps or electric vehicles. I actually did get one over the weekend, so yeah, keep them coming. Again, we can still accept them and keep growing that number of participants, and then once the program reopens, then we'll be able to apply for completion of those actions, and then yeah.
Okay. Katie, did you have any updates on any of the programs that are happening with those? I know that the last batch got canceled, but there was a video of a previous one that you guys were promoting or something like that.
That's true, yes. If anybody ever wants to watch any of those pre-recorded classes, just email colorpenfieldgreen@gmail.org.
Would you like to try that one again?
Yes, I would. colorpenfieldgreen@gmail.com. And we can get you the recordings of those. And we've decided to, we had been running the classes pretty much every season, and we've decided to sort of hold off on that. We seem to have met the we've saturated the audience, so we're going to step back and wait a little bit before we offer it again.
Okay, good.
Any idea on the number of applicants we have with the one over the weekend? I know we hit a certain criteria for a grant. Do you know what number we're currently at this moment?
So, not off the top of my head. I know that for, there was like the 3 tiers, and we had
Right.
just gotten over the second tier. Yeah, we're pretty far away from tier 3. There was a
Gotcha.
pretty significant jump from tier 2 to tier 3. And I can get you those numbers after the meeting, but yeah, I believe essentially both from tier 2, it essentially doubles. So I think it was a total of 25 and 20. I think 25 for electric vehicles and 20 for the heat pumps, and so I was looking at like 40 and 50. So, and it's cumulative, right? So in order to, like from tier 1 to tier 2, we have had those 20 and 25 participants, and then so we'll need an additional 25 and additional 20 to get those 40 to 50 participants.
And the fiscal year is end of year, right?
So it's not fiscal year, it's not based on that, it's as long as the program length, and I guess I'd have to look at the terms of the current, I always forget the acronym, the Project Opportunity Notice, right?
PON, yeah.
PON,
Yeah, the
yeah.
PON, there we
Yeah.
go. Look at the definition of the PON, because it's the other thing too, is that essentially what we're waiting for from NYSERDA is a new PON, and that will define the new terms of the length of the program, the funding for the program, and then the opportunities related to that. So once that's renewed, it could be that it's renewed for another year,
I don't know.
Oh, sure, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying 5 years, like, oh,
Yeah,
well,
it
that
could
would be
be.
great, but
It
yeah.
could be, yeah.
But, yeah, so we don't know, and if that's the case, then it could be that, the number of participants could be through till, 2027, 2030, we don't know. But as we've been directed by our Clean Energy Community Coordinator to just keep collecting them and keep with the anticipation that eventually, whether it's this year or the next, we'll hopefully be able to submit for those grants.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thanks. Okay, so we get to move into new business?
Yes, this is really just a short and sweet note for the EV car show. The organizers sent us an email noting that the Penfield EV car show was the 6th largest in the country for the National Drive Electric Earth Month, or DEAN. So just a little shout out for that and the impact that that group was able to have here in Penfield, and yeah, getting that recognition of being the 6th largest in the country.
I
is,
think
pretty
that's
great.
impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Really
have to say.
impressive.
Despite the weather.
Yeah, exactly.
I
yeah,
mean.
right. Yeah.
So it shows the energy and effort that gets put into that, and the fact that we could tag along with that for our Arbor Day celebration just really kind of shows the enhancement of the number of people, why we had such a positive outcome from that as well.
Yeah, they really do complement each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that based off of participation or number of vehicles?
Registrants.
Really?
Yeah, so the number of people that registered for the show, and yeah, so that's how they ranked it.
That's-
So it's
Whereas like,
cars for the most
there were
part,
other
yeah.
metrics that they
Yeah.
could have gone by, like, miles driven and all that, but just looking at that one metric of the amount of people that registered for the event, that was the 6th highest in the nation. So,
Wow.
That's a really big deal, actually.
right, yeah. And then moving into, are there any other questions about EV car show? No, all right. Community choice aggregation. So the CCA renewal bids were opened yesterday by our CCA administrator, Good Energy. They'll be performing some analysis and then sharing that with town staff and then the town board in the coming weeks. Cynette had also asked, what are the terms of our contract with Good Energy, our administrator, and speaking with the town engineer. Essentially, our contract with Good Energy is tied into the renewal period. So effectively, if we renew the CCA program this year, we're also renewing our contract with CCA as our administrator. If for whatever reason we decide not to renew, there's a potential to go out to RFP again and seek out a different administrator, and then go out and essentially renew the program under different terms. If we want to, if there was a desire to wait and try, like it's effectively one of the main reasons you may not renew the program is if the bid, if the bid and the rates that are associated with that bid are very high, then we may decide just to not renew, and then there would be an opportunity to wait for the rates to be more reasonable, and then go out to bid again. And so that would be an opportunity to either stay with Good Energy or seek out another administrator. So just how that would work out.
And who makes that decision? Is that the town staff?
Town board.
Board?
Yeah,
Okay.
town board, yeah. I mean, ultimately, the RFP process and going out to that would be, staff kind of handling that and administrating that part of it. But the ultimate decision comes to the town board.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I had asked the question because the first go-round, this committee's in its predecessor mode was the ones that kind of did the deep dive for the town board to kind of make sure that they had the best information for making that decision.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Can I ask, is the joining a community choice aggregation program, is that still part of a clean energy community program? I mean, I know, or like the last iteration, is that still one of the items of a clean energy community?
I guess I'd have to, I know that it was a high impact action. I don't know how our status changes if we are no longer, if we no longer have a CCA program. I can ask our CCA administrator to get a better understanding. Yeah, I'd have to consult with them to figure out how that would exactly work.
I think, and at the same time, I think we got a limited credit from it because we're split between the 100% and the 50%. Whereas I think the kind of the incentive was to really push the 100% program.
Gotcha.
That's right.
So. But I'm optimistic, that perhaps the rates this round will be more amenable to the people of Penfield. The first cycle was so awesome, and then this one's been a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
I did do some looking up, though, that for the 100% green, that we are still below the standard rates for that. So for the people that have selected the 100% green, it is a lower rate. So.
Compared to
Some of the other.
the other ESCOs
yes,
that
in
are
the
offering
area.
100%,
Local,
sure.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
regionally. Okay, next on the agenda is the EPOD
Yeah,
map
so
revisions.
a major discussion last meeting was the determination on the minimum canopy height for the woodland EPOD. And Roy had suggested that we conduct some sensitivity analysis for the variable associated with essentially the canopy height, or the minimum canopy height. And so I took that, so again, we were looking at the canopy height setting it at 11 meters or that 36 feet so that you have a canopy being measured above any of the maximum height of a 35-foot structure in those single-family residential districts. And so your percent difference there that this is showing is that it's just that that's what we started with. And effectively what this is showing, or what the sensitivity analysis is really showing, is that as you move closer to the Earth's surface, you measure more objects that are close. I think that this wasn't, in my eyes, that satisfying. It didn't really tell much because it's still not giving us a good idea of how much more or less of the canopy we're measuring by adjusting that minimum height. Because all it's really showing is that there's a very strong relationship between the EPOD area and the height, but it's not, we can't really distinguish whether or not we're measuring more like just canopy or we're just measuring more objects. I mean, if going down all the way to that 3 meter threshold, we were measuring a lot of buildings. And one of the really troublesome objects or features that I didn't see in the first go around, power lines, which is really difficult to manage because you have like one, bunch of trees that's now being connected along the entire right-of-way and effectively creating an EPOD because they're connected by the power lines that you're measuring. And so I went back and considered, Roy just had mentioned, are there any other methods of measuring the tree canopy? And so went back to the drawing board and tried to look at other data sources that we could leverage to try and resolve this problem. And the two main things that I found was that FEMA had a more recent LiDAR data set. We were using the county's 2017 data. FEMA had 2019. So that's going to impact this measurement, but it's also going to impact the steep slopes because we have more recent data and we can use that to get the latest for that. The other data that I was able to find, because at one point I had mentioned to Roy about being able to look at near infrared and red reflectance from objects to measure effectively tree health or plant health and plant density, but a lot of the data that is openly available isn't very high resolution. And then I saw that, what is the page? USDA's National Agricultural Imagery Program has sub-meter aerial imagery that has those 4 bands that you need, or really the 2 bands are the red reflectance and the near infrared reflectance. And that way you're able to estimate NDVI, which is the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index. And just this is a little graphic that shows that basically really healthy trees reflect a lot of near infrared radiation, but they absorb the red radiation. Essentially, they are absorbing a lot of that red radiation in the process of photosynthesis. And so those healthier plants have a really high NDVI, which it's a ratio where you are taking the difference of the near infrared radiation minus the red radiation and then dividing it by the sum. And so you only get values between 1 and -1. And then looking at on the right here, you have unhealthy vegetation or less dense vegetation. And so your near infrared is still pretty high. It's still reflecting a lot of it, but it's not absorbing as much because it's not performing as much photosynthesis. So you get a low NDVI or a value that's close to 0. And then for water or buildings, you have a lot of the absorption. Water absorbs almost all of the infrared or the near infrared radiation, incoming infrared radiation, and then it reflects a lot of the red. So effectively, what you end up with is an image like this. Oh, is it going to let me? Ooh. Actually, okay.
Come on, do it.
So what you're left with is very high NDVI values. So the higher ones are these like gold and yellow. So this is an image of Town Hall. So the building itself, these are representing values either below 0 or 0. And so you can filter out the pavement, the buildings, essentially the water here. And so you're getting rid of all of those objects, those features that are, non-vegetative, but all just classifying where those vegetative are. Now, we can't use just this because grassy fields also have very high NDVI. So this is just, this is what we were using before. This is the normalized the normalized digital surface model that we were producing with the LiDAR data. So basically these dark purplish areas are the ground surface, values of 0, and then the lighter colors are where we have objects above the surface. And so the issue with just using this again is that, so you see that this is the town hall building. So you have that, but then if we just, this is where you have this, these are the power lines, where you're having that connection from like this little bunch of trees to this bunch of trees to this bunch of trees. And if we essentially pull out all of those, and we end up with a forest or a canopy coverage that is connected along this right-of-way and isn't actually representative of the tree canopy. So how we use these two images to create a tree canopy map is we essentially just, how raster imagery works is that you've got that essentially each one of the cells in each image, you multiply them, and you end up with basically any of these areas that with very high NDVI value, but a very low NDSM, or essentially if it's the elevation is 0 multiplied by the NDVI of like, let's say 0.6, then it just goes to 0 because it's not a value we're looking for. But if I have a value of 30 in the tree canopy, that's the height, and then an NDVI value of 1 or close to 1, then it comes up. So effectively what we're left with is a map of the tree canopy. The green values are 0 or near 0 values, and then the tree canopy areas are values between 0 and 130, or sorry, closer to that 130 value, that like max value. And then where areas where you have less dense vegetation, it comes up as that lighter yellow color. But ultimately, like you can see that now the town hall is filtered out, the power lines are filtered out, essentially anything that is either water or buildings or pavement or those the baseball fields or the vegetation are filtered out. And then also any like low-lying shrub areas are relatively filtered out because you're masking them by the height of the canopy. And so you're left with a raster image with effectively where our tree canopy is. And you don't have to consider that minimum height factor. You can just look at how the NDVI values those, and the NDSM, how those hedge towards those larger and those taller and more dense tree canopy ends up with larger values, so you end up with that as your final product. So essentially, this is requiring a lot of changes to the code that I scripted for the original one. So by our next meeting, I'm hoping to have a new script that shows all the changes in the proposal. That'll be adjusted. Not that, again, that's a lot of information I don't expect you guys to go through the weeds of, but I also haven't had a chance to just create and show the new metrics for what this, what the new EPOD area would be. So hopefully by next meeting I'll have the metrics and the updates to the revision proposal for both the woodland and the steep slopes. Any questions?
Yes.
Matt, I'm so impressed.
I am too.
I mean, like, honestly, like, I'm gonna hand for Matt. Like, Matt, seriously, like, you hit the ball on that. I was like, oh God, here's a sensitivity analysis. You decided we're not gonna do anything else, but
Well,
like,
no,
this is great.
Yeah. That was like, when I appreciated the comment, and I had a feeling that like, yeah, it's not going to turn up much. But then when I found the NAEP data, it really changed how this would go and how we could potentially measure this. And it's also an important factor for our next item on the agenda. So if we don't have any more questions, I didn't, with the time as well, I
Did you
don't.
have a question, Roy? It's like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did. So,
Oh, sorry.
first of all, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work, and I know how hard that can be, but thank you for doing it. But my question is, it seems like the tree height sensitivity would still come into play a little bit because it is one of your ND, whatever, I can't read it now,
Yes, the NDVI,
Yeah.
So, yes, so let's say you had a shrub that was, had a value of, let's say, 2 and for the height, so you would have that as your NDSM value. But your NDVI, it not only accounts for, basically the amount of reflectance of the near infrared is higher for a very complex tree canopy, whereas it's relatively low for a shrub or even just a tree in the middle of a field. So those, less complex tree canopies or plants effectively get removed. And even like a singular tree that maybe it's an old tree and has a very complex tree canopy, the fact that it's like a singular tree and doesn't have any understory or anything like that, it would still have a relatively low NDVI value compared to these actually, and I think we should remember that this is the woodland EPOD, not just like the healthy tree EPOD.
Correct, yeah.
And so we're trying to pinpoint those areas with high NDVI, but also be above that, I guess like those areas that are, because the other issue that you could run into is if, let's say the NAEP imagery, again, if we were only considering that without the LiDAR, the values for like a cornfield are, some areas where you have very high chlorophyll or very high production, you're going to get very high NDVI values. But with the NDSM leveraging to those higher values and the more complex density of those areas, they get filtered out. So I hope that answers the question.
It does.
Again, the other thing too is that I do want to kind of finalize this and then kind of
Compare
see
it.
we'll compare, but also consult at DC and see if they feel that this is, again, a good estimate of where our tree canopy could be.
Yeah, the other question I had is the data set, assuming that, the one set, it's going to be, summertime most likely because you're going to have the most active and colorful,
Yeah, the NAEP imagery is specifically, it's an agricultural product. It's meant to measure, and it's used by USDA for estimating agricultural production throughout the nation. So it's done, and that's the thing too, is that there's more recent NAEP data, but I needed to have NAEP data or that imagery that overlapped with when the LiDAR data was collected.
Right.
And it does. It was essentially the NAEP data is from the late summer of 2019, and that's when the LiDAR data was collected. So that'll be a factor going forward. The NAEP data is collected every 2 years, and LiDAR data is collected
Whenever.
when it's available.
Yep.
So that'll be a consideration as we go forward. And the other thing too is that like the LiDAR data is very cost intensive, and I wouldn't expect it to be collected on a more frequent basis. But if it were the case that we had LiDAR data that was on, an even year and it didn't correspond with when the NAEP data was available, it's possible we could go out and see if there was other imagery available. I know that the town has a contract with Nearmap for our aerial imagery, and they do collect in that bandwidth for certain areas. So it could be that, like, if we know that they fly for us now 2 flights throughout the year, they do a spring and a late summer, early fall. So it could be that if we needed that in anticipation of like we're going to have LiDAR data for this time of year, then we can potentially request that.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Looking forward to next month then, when you'll,
Yes, I
is
think
that, is that, is that enough time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this has been pretty time-consuming and trying to figure out this last step took a while, but yeah, the next step essentially is figuring, or yeah, writing the script so that it can create a more simplified polygon from the raster. And
Okay.
that's complicated, but yeah,
Yep.
it'll happen, yeah. So yes, next month we'll have the metrics and the mapping.
Okay.
Or the proposed mapping for us to consider.
Thank you.
All right.
So one more topic for old business on our agenda is
Yes.
a forestry plan.
Forestry plan, yeah. So we've consulted our regional forester and Cornell Cooperative, and they were very adamant that, like, your first step really is that tree inventory. You have to get that baseline to establish where the public trees are, and then you can have your forestry plan address how you're going to maintain and grow your forest based on that information. And so the town is actively looking to hire a consultant to complete a tree inventory. This, again, is generally the first step for a municipal forestry plan. We hope to soon have an estimated budget, which, based on the consultants we've spoke to so far, the budget for the tree inventory is basically determined by the number of trees. So it can be, $6 to $10 per tree, or, whatever, but we have to essentially tell the consultant how many trees we want to have inventoried. So we're working with the consultants to figure out, okay, so how do we help you figure out how many trees? And so there's some basic calculations of telling them, okay, we have this many linear miles of town right-of-ways, this is the area of our right-of-way, this is the amount of green space within the right-of-way, things like that. So we're drawing out those numbers and hoping to have that fine-tuned and put in for the budget for next year. So the idea would be that we do that inventory next year, and based on the consultants, again, they say that it's best to roll right into that forestry plan soon after that. You don't want to be sitting with an inventory for a year or two because it's going to, not be as relevant to the forestry plan if it's a couple of years old. So, but yeah, that's the thoughts so far of how we're going to.
And Matt, what will the inventory consist of? Will it be like species and DBH or
Yes,
diameter? What other
Yeah,
considerations?
so there's also just metrics that they do for condition and recommended maintenance, adjacency to utilities, and a risk assessment. But that is where, that factor, whether it's $6 or $10 or $20 per tree, is a factor of, like, how long do you want that arborist to be at that tree? And so the idea is that we tell them how many trees we want inventoried, and our hope is that they come back with, like, okay, well, we can either inventory and give you this data for this amount, or, we could collect all of this really great information and it would be this amount. So, but yeah, it's talking with our parks foreman and getting an understanding, what do you need to effectively maintain these trees, and what can we realistically upkeep from year after year? Because the idea is that not only are we getting the inventory, but now our town is going to be maintaining that. So we get, the inventory, and it has all these recommended actions for maintaining the trees, such as, pruning this or removing this dead tree, things like that. And then as soon as that's done, then we update it, or say we keep getting a call about certain trees in the right of way or in a park or something like that, they can associate those calls with that particular tree and put in work requests for that and things like that. So at least of the consultants we've talked to so far, that's sort of what they've offered as a service that they could offer. But again, it's something we're really trying to involve our public works and our parks foreman and those people that are actively going to be using this system and this inventory to try and figure out what we need in that budget, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, and is there any other old business?
No, I guess, no, but I do have an upcoming event that I wanted to.
Okay,
note
so
that
then
we're-
we'll go into new business with where we've tucked upcoming events.
Yeah, the June weekend brush drop-off at Gloria Drive is this Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. More details on the town's website, and I'll link that in the minutes as well, but just wanted to highlight that. And then I guess I'll open it up. Does anyone else have any other events that they'd want to highlight
I
here?
know Katie mentioned one to me.
I do, yeah. Color Penfield Green is offering a class for children, Love the Earth with Food and Pollinators. It's a cooking class and, exploring the native pollinator garden by the library. So it's Wednesday, July 16th for children going into grades 1st through 6th, and it's in the catalog on page 13.
And what time?
Oh, sorry, from 9 to noon.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Good.
And it's free.
That sounds fun. I went the adult version, so put that into the recommendation. Yes, yes. And then I just had one that I wanted to tuck in there, is that the June hike for the Penfield Trails group is June 14th, and they're going to Whiting Road which is actually Webster, but it's kind of an intersection between the two. So it's just an interesting thing to see where all they kind of highlight from month to month. Okay, is there any other upcoming events that anybody wants to mention? Okay.
I mean, it's on the same page, and it sounds really interesting. The Penfield Victory Garden, Community Victory Garden is hosting children's gardening classes and clubs throughout the summer, and that seems to fit in with our.
I love their Victory Garden. That's one of the fun things I think we have, too. Okay, is there any other new business? Okay. So at this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. So the June 12th meeting of the Energy and Environmental Conservation Committee is adjourned as of 5:57. We're kind of a little 3 minutes to go.